Well, the Lakers pulled off a very impressive victory last night, beating the Milwaukee Bucks 119-95 on their own home court, beating them on the second night of a back-to-back, not to mention only getting into Milwaukee at roughly 3 AM the night before, playing at 7 PM the very same day, and somehow pulling off a near 25-point victory, in fact a 26-point victory, also being up by 30 points at halftime. And yet, that was not the main takeaway for many fans last night. In fact, it wasn't them winning by 25 points, wasn't the fact that they were up 30 at halftime, wasn't even Luka Doncic dropping 41, 9, and 6, or Luka and Austin combining for over 65 points. It happened to be a player that played roughly 4.5 minutes last night, that player being rookie Adou Thiero, making his Lakers season debut last night. In fact, making his overall Lakers game debut. He hadn't played during Summer League or preseason, and only made his regular season debut last night against Milwaukee. And again, in spite of only playing 4 minutes and 41 seconds, many fans were very excited, and pretty much the entirety of the fan base was happy with what he showed on the court. It definitely added up and was comparable to what he looked like throughout college, especially in regard to his athletic ability on the court, displaying it on defense, in the open court, simply showing it off on the dunk that he had late in the game. Many fans were happy to see it, and with how different that he is compared to many other guys in their team. Again, speaking about his athletic ability, whereas he's an elite and top-notch athlete even by NBA standards, they don't have many other guys that are quite up to that level. So with that in mind here, what did Adou Thiero show last night? Can it be replicable and possibly in their rotation going forward? And why is there so much kind of reason to be happy with him and kind of excited for his potential going forward too? We're going to talk about that, break down his game film last night, and simply talk about his outlook with the Lakers team in rotation going forward. And well, without further ado, beginning with his stat line, as again it's not a whole lot to point to. Only 4 minutes and 41 seconds on the court, making 1 field goal, again that late game dunk that I referred to, showing off his 40+ inch vertical while doing it, having the entire bench unit hype for him, even, making an argument post-game to get him the game ball, as he scored his official first NBA points. But apart from that, and apart from the 4 points that he put up and the 1 rebound that he grabbed, I don't care too much about the stat line. I care more about the fact that he got in during the first quarter, again didn't play that much, but really telling about the confidence that Redick has in him to put him out there that early. In fact, he even got out there before guys like both Maxi Kleber and Jared Vanderbilt, the latter of which is very important to point to in my opinion. I brought this up a few videos back and some fans got angry about it. I wasn't saying that I'd replace Vanderbilt with Adou Thiero, not saying that I'd outright trade Vanderbilt if Adou Thiero flashes and shows that he can offer their team something in the short term, not simply the long term. But I did pose the question of if Redick might eventually look to kind of replace him, given the fact that Adou Thiero can offer much of what Vanderbilt does. Obviously isn't quite up to that level, not defensively. Offensively, it's pretty comparable at this point. And if he can offer more than Vanderbilt, will he eventually look to replace him, and maybe even will the Lakers eventually look to trade him? Maybe. Again, not saying that I'd do it, but the fact that Adou Thiero got playing time before Vanderbilt last night, the fact that Vanderbilt played under 8 minutes last night, I think that's a little bit telling about that. Not going to go on too much of a tangent with it, but kind of pointing back to it a little bit again here. I think it might be something to watch going forward. But again, apart from that, I think it's very noteworthy how early Adou Thiero entered the game, and really the trust that Redick put in him. I personally would have liked to see him come back during the early third quarter, or somewhere before the late fourth quarter in general, given the fact that he looked pretty good out there, showed some fight on defense and scrappiness around the rim, which we definitely can point to in the game film here too. Upon entering the game last night, Adou Thiero took on the matchup of Cole Anthony on defense, which is obviously a height and overall size mismatch, Cole Anthony being roughly 6'2", maybe 180 pounds soaking wet, Adou Thiero being 6'7", weighing well over 230 pounds to go with it. And while that obviously didn't show up offensively too much, again Thiero having 4 points, but where it did show up was both on defense and on the glass too. Here for example, Luka Doncic taking a step back 3-point shot, coming a bit hard off the rim, Thiero being in the corner but immediately crashing to the offensive glass, Cole Anthony trying to box him out a little bit, kind of giving him a one-hand shove, but Thiero simply brushes him off and goes right around him, then tracking the ball out for the long rebound, beating Bobby Portis to it, a great rebounder himself, getting it and keeping the ball alive for their team for another offensive possession, which you simply cannot overlook here. Again, it might not show up that much, it might not get talked about much, but that's a very good tracking of an offensive rebound by a wing player like Adou Thiero that was in a matchup with Cole Anthony. Again, a complete mismatch in regard to size, and he took advantage of it too. And well, the very next time down the court on offense, he nearly did it again. This time Luka finding Jackson Hayes at the rim, Cole Anthony coming over for the help defense, and Hayes decides to go up with it, despite Thiero having a wide open lane to the rim. It even looked like Hayes might pass him the ball and would have had a wide open dunk had Hayes passed it, but instead Hayes went up for it, should have made the shot but did get fouled on the play. But if it wasn't called, Thiero was right there for a putback dunk, even got it and laid it up lightly with the left hand here, showing his instinctiveness on rebounding, his timing to make the backdoor cut, and simply the wherewithal to know when to cut, the timing to do it, and then to crash the offensive glass here too. So once again, another play that won't show up or really can be pointed to in the box score, but some good instinct here by Adou Thiero. Or then down to the other side of the court, Adou Thiero got another rebound that he didn't get credit for because of another foul. Gary Trent shooting a 3-point shot, Adou Thiero tracking it off the rim and grabbing the defensive rebound, or what should have been had there not been a foul call, and he didn't get credit for it, but once again getting in there for a rebound, tracking the ball well, getting in position to get a rebound and simply help the team out. Something that I think is very important if they do eventually kind of transition away from Jarred Vanderbilt, or simply split his playing time a bit with Adou Thiero. I mean, if you're gonna take Vanderbilt out of there, a great rebounder, one of the best in their entire team, and one of the best rebounding wings in the entire league, then you better have a guy that's a pretty good rebounder himself. And I think we can say that Adou Thiero is committed to doing it, and does have a good background with rebounding too. I mean, throughout college, he grabbed over 4.5 rebounds per game in only 20 minutes per game, grabbing 5.8 of them per game during his third and final year of college at Arkansas, grabbing 5.8 in 27.5 minutes per game, that translating to 8.5 per 40 minutes, 9.3 of them per 40 minutes during his sophomore year. So I think we can point to his rebounding as a direct skill for him, something that if again they do replace Vanderbilt, or simply give a little bit of his playing time, or Dalton Connect's playing time to Adou Thiero, they'll have a good rebounder no matter what. So great sign for Adou Thiero. Now I know we don't tend to care too much about rebounding, an often overlooked and forgotten factor of the game, especially when you're not talking about a center or a big player in general, but to have a wing like Jarred Vanderbilt or Adou Thiero who can help your team with it, even keep the ball alive for your team on offense and do it consistently for your team, is a very valuable skill to have in your rotation. But apart from the rebounding, I like what Adou Thiero showed offensively and defensively a bit too. No, again, not by the stat line, not by the box score, but the instincts they showed on the court. And going back to that matchup that he had with Cole Anthony, kind of even surprising that a 6'7", 234-pound guy can keep up with Cole Anthony, one of the quicker up-tempo guards in the league, especially coming off the bench for the Bucks and averaging over 12 points per game this season. He did pretty well keeping up with him in the limited playing time that he did have. Shown here on display, Cole Anthony trying to initiate their offense and run out of a horn set here, trying to push the ball to the left side of the court so they can free up a lane and some space to dump off the ball to Giannis here, being guarded by Max Kleba, but with Thiero kind of pestering him and not letting him get to where he wants to, even kind of dodging the Bobby Portis screen here, setting up Jackson Hayes perfectly to switch onto him. That kind of messes their play up and the timing within it, leading to them not scoring on this possession, in large part due to Adou Thiero, him pestering it and not really letting Cole Anthony get to where he wanted to. I think that shows off his defensive ability and upside to defend not only wings like himself, but even quicker, smaller point guards like Cole Anthony. Again, not trying to make too much of simply one good defensive possession or a couple of good rebounds here and there, but I like what Adou Thiero showed on the court. I like the instincts they showed. I like his commitment to doing the little things. Again, things that don't really show up on the stat sheet, but definitely do contribute to winning and helping a team to be a winning team. I like what he showed out there. In my opinion, that gave me more trust to give him more playing time, whether it's when they need him due to an injury, or simply guys ahead of him might not be playing that well. If eventually it might lead to him getting some playing time from Jarred Vanderbilt, Dalton Connect, or whoever it might be, I have more trust in Adou Thiero going forward. Yes, very limited action tonight, didn't show that much, but from what we wanted from him and kind of to carry over from what he showed in college, doing the little things on defense, rebounding, simply his athletic ability, I definitely like the snippet of what he showed. And then of course for the cherry on top here, getting that late game dunk, showing off his athletic ability and getting out in the open court, I think we're all waiting to see that from Adou Thiero. And yes, he definitely did deliver. Getting out in the open court here, running with Bronny James and Maxi Kleber, Adou Thiero easily getting ahead of the transition defense, getting the ball and dunking it with authority, even with Andre Jackson Jr. coming behind him to try and block it, and then hanging on the rim to simply soak up the moment. So great debut for Adou Thiero. Yes, only 4 minutes and 41 seconds, but I think there's reason to be happy about it. There is reason to justify the fans being happy with him, and even reason to potentially justify him being in the rotation, or simply to get some spot minutes here and there too. So with that in mind here, I'll let you hear from the man himself about his debut, what he thought about the game tonight, how he played on the court, and simply his outlook with the team and how JJ Redick might trust him going forward too. Here's Adou Thiero.
Austin was just saying that every NBA player remembers their first bucket, and like he remembered his, and he kind of took us through it. Can you take us through the moment? And I know you scored first at the free throw line, but the dunk. Can you kind of just take us through in slow mo that moment for you?
I really saw Bronny steal the ball, and he was running alongside, the left side of the court. So now I was like, sure, let me just run as hard as I can and see what happens. And he was able to find me, help me, get my first bucket. So. It's a great feeling, happy, it happened.
I know you've been working towards this for a while, trying to get back and get healthy. And so after it goes through, did you look over to the bench and kind of see the reaction of your teammates? Did that make you feel a little extra special?
I heard them whenever I dunked the ball. I could hear them. So, that was pretty hype. But coming down and seeing everybody flexing and all over the bench, it was just a good feeling for everybody to be happy for me.
And did you see the lengths that they went to make sure that you got the game ball afterwards?
Yeah, I did. At first, I didn't even realize, it was all from me. But, I'm very thankful for this team. And, I guess that I think that shows, how connected we are and, how much we want each other to succeed and to succeed as a team.
I know behind the scenes, the coaches have been on you about trying to come in and make an impact with your effort, your physicality, your energy. You're barely on the court for 30 seconds to get that offensive rebound. Did you feel like that was some validation based on what the coaching staff is want to see out of you?
Coaches just told me to come in and do what I do. So, I just came in, played as hard as I could. Ball bounced right in front of me. I was like, that's the first opportunity right there. If I don't get it now, then that's not a good first statement. So I had to get that ball.
How often have you heard the word banshee from JJ?
He actually hasn't used it with me yet, but I've heard it already, a couple of times through his interviews and everything. But just trying to go out there and have that dog mentality and try to do the little things.
What's it been like for you, just kind of watching up to this point, and obviously working out on your own and getting back, but just seeing how this team has performed and up to 10-4. LeBron James hasn't played yet. A lot of guys have been in and out. What's your collective read on the team in your rookie year here?
I feel like we got a great team. The things we were able to accomplish, and we don't even have LeBron James yet, and I feel like we're still figuring.